Hello. Under the slogan, Young and Fun Philosophy, this is SageSync, which brings the thoughts of philosophers into today's life and delivers them as a story of empathy. Welcome back. Great to have you with us for another SageSync deep dive. We try to bring philosophy into everyday life here.
Yeah, making those big ideas feel a bit more accessible, maybe even useful.
Exactly. And today we're looking at some real giants, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, and also Balthasar Gracián.
Mm-hmm. Three very distinct perspectives on some really fundamental questions about how we live.
Absolutely. And the big one today, it's something I think everyone grapples with, is desire. Should we be trying to tamp it down, reduce it, or should we embrace it, cultivate it?
It's that classic philosophical tension, isn't it? Often set up as Schopenhauer saying less is more, and Nietzsche saying more is life.
Right, the ultimate showdown.
Yeah.
And then Gracián kind of comes in with maybe a more practical angle.
A very strategic angle, yeah. It makes for a fascinating contrast.
Okay, so let's start with Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer. His outlook is, well, it's pretty stark, isn't it?
It is. He famously kicks things off with life is suffering, full stop.
Doesn't exactly fill you with optimism.
No. But for him, it was just a fundamental observation. He believed that underpinning everything is this blind, ceaseless striving he called the will.
The will. Not like willpower, but something deeper.
Much deeper. Think of it as this constant, unconscious urge. It's the energy behind everything, but it mainly manifests as, well, desire. An unending stream of wanting this, needing that.
And that's the problem. But wanting itself.
That's exactly his point. He said something like, human beings are not born to fulfill desires, but must learn to reduce them to reach peace. Because for Schopenhauer, desires are fundamentally unsatisfiable.
How so? I mean, sometimes you get what you want.
Sure, you get it. And there's maybe a flicker of satisfaction. But then what? Either boredom sets in or a new desire immediately pops up to take its place.
Ah, right. Like buying a new phone. It's amazing for like a week. And then you're already seeing ads for the next model.
Exactly. Or getting that job promotion and then immediately stressing about the next promotion. Schopenhauer called it the infinite loop of suffering. You're just constantly chasing something that never actually delivers lasting contentment.
It's a bit bleak.
It is, but he drew parallels quite intentionally with Eastern thought, especially Buddhism. This cycle sounds a lot like samsara, doesn't it? The idea that craving keeps us trapped.
Yeah, the cycle of suffering driven by attachment and desire.
Precisely. He saw worldly desires for fame, wealth, pleasure as ultimately fleeting and kind of illusory. They promise happiness but never quite deliver in the long run.
So if fulfilling desire doesn't work, what's his solution? Just give up.
Not give up on life, but give up on the chase. Reduce your desires. Simplify your life. Find peace not in getting what you want, but in wanting less.
Ah, okay. Detachment.
Exactly. He put it beautifully, actually. True happiness comes from the absence of desire. It is as peaceful as a calm sea after the wind has died down. It's about finding that inner quiet.
That image of the calm sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that resonates. And you do see echoes of this today, don't you? Like the whole minimalism movement.
Absolutely. Minimalism, people trying digital detoxes, seeking simplicity.
Yeah.
It all taps into that Schopenhauerian idea that maybe reducing the noise, reducing the wanting is the path to peace.
So his core question for us really is, to be happy, do you need more or do you need to want less? Powerful stuff.
Definitely makes you think.
Okay, but now, let's pivot completely. Friedrich Nietzsche. He read Schopenhauer, right?
Yeah.
And he was not impressed.
Not impressed is putting it mildly. Nietzsche saw Schopenhauer's entire philosophy as, well, hostile to life. He thought it was pessimistic, passive, a denial of everything vibrant and powerful in human existence.
He called him a suppressor of the will, I think.
He did. He felt Schopenhauer was basically telling us to give up, to retreat from life, and Nietzsche found that unacceptable, a betrayal even.
So for Nietzsche, desire wasn't the enemy.
Far from it. For Nietzsche, desire, or rather the fundamental drive behind it, was the very essence of life. This is where his concept of the will to power comes in the Will zur Macht.
Will to power. Okay, that sounds a bit intense, maybe a bit aggressive.
It's often misunderstood that way, yeah, like it's just about dominating people. But it's much broader, much more fundamental. It's the inherent drive in everything living to grow, expand, overcome obstacles, express its strength, create. It's an affirmation of life's energy.
So not just wanting stuff, but wanting to become more.
Exactly. Nietzsche says life is the will to overcome itself. So where Schopenhauer says reduce desire, Nietzsche says cultivate it, but cultivate the right kind of desire.
A right kind.
Meaning it's not primarily about, chasing material possessions or fleeting pleasures. It's about the desire for self-mastery, for creativity, for imposing meaning on a potentially meaningless world. It's the drive to push beyond your current limits.
And this ties into his idea of the Übermensch, the overman.
Precisely. The Übermensch isn't someone who denies or suppresses their desires. No, they understand their desires. They harness them. They use that energy, that fire, as a tool for self-creation.
Okay, so it's about mastering desire, not being mastered by it.
That's the key. Nietzsche basically says, do not be afraid of your desires. They will lead you to become greater than yourself. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the striving. Even suffering, which Schopenhauer wanted to escape, Nietzsche saw as potentially valuable.
How so? Valuable how?
As fuel. As resistance to push against. Suffering can forge you, refine you, if you have the will to use it creatively to make something of it. The Übermensch takes the chaos and conflict of life, including their own desires and pains, and shapes it into something meaningful.
Wow, okay. That is a radically different picture from Schopenhauer's Calm Sea. It's more like a forge, maybe?
A forge is a great image, using the heat, the pressure, the raw materials of life, including desire to create something stronger, something more. It's incredibly dynamic.
Okay, so we have Schopenhauer saying reduce desire for peace, Nietzsche saying cultivate desire for growth. Where does Balthasar Gracián fit in all this? He feels like a different flavor altogether.
He really is. Gracián comes at it from a much more, let's say, worldly wise perspective.
Well,
He's not about achieving nirvana or becoming an Übermensch necessarily. He's about navigating the complexities of this world successfully.
the real world with its politics and social games.
Exactly. And he sees desire as, well, a crucial part of that world, but a tricky one. He acknowledges it's a force that moves life. You absolutely need it. But he also calls it a dangerous imbalance.
Dangerous how?
Because if it's unchecked, it leads to ruin. Gracián is all about prudence, strategy, self-control. He famously wrote, only those who govern their desires with wisdom can rule their lives.
Govern them with wisdom.
Okay.
So it's not about getting rid of them or letting them run wild, but managing them.
Precisely. It's management. He saw the danger in both extremes. No desire leads to apathy, stagnation, you won't achieve anything. But too much desire, or poorly directed desire, makes you reckless, blinds you, leads to failure. Think ambition.
Right? He warned about that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Excessive ambition ruins the objective.
Exactly. It's about finding the golden mean, the right balance. And crucially for Gracián, this requires self-awareness. You need to be able to, diagnose your own desires, understand what's driving you.
And that self-knowledge helps you make better choices.
In everything. In relationships, in your career, even in knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. It's all about regulating that inner force of desire strategically.
So desire isn't something to be eliminated like Schopenhauer thought, or just unleashed like Nietzsche might imply, but something to be tamed, trained almost.
Tamed, trained, managed, directed. Gracián sees it as maybe the most critical variable you need to control if you want to successfully design your life and achieve your goals in society.
It sounds incredibly modern, actually. Very relevant to all this self-help and leadership stuff you see today.
Absolutely. His focus on self-regulation, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, it resonates because we live in a world, perhaps more than ever, that constantly stimulates our desires. Learning to read and manage them is a key skill for navigating it all.
So we've seen this incredible philosophical clash. Schopenhauer, reduce desire, find peace. Nietzsche, cultivate desire, become more. Gracián, manage desire, succeed wisely.
3 powerful frameworks for understanding a force that shapes all our lives.
So the big question, who's right? Which approach should we take?
Well, maybe asking who's right isn't the most useful question.
Okay, what is them?
Perhaps the more important thing is, like you said earlier, how are you personally handling your desires right now? Because these ideas are interesting, but they don't change anything unless you apply them.
Right, desire isn't just an abstract concept for philosophers. It's that energy, that pull we feel every single day. It wakes us up, it tempts us, sometimes it trips us up.
It really does. It's constant.
So maybe the real work is looking inwards. Are you trying to ignore your desires? Are they maybe running the show without you realizing it? Or are you actively trying to understand them, maybe guide them, find that balance Gracián talked about?
It's about developing that relationship with your own inner landscape of wanting.
Yeah. The philosophical debate is fascinating, and it's not going away. But it lands differently when you connect it to your own experience.
Absolutely.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Don't necessarily fear desire, like Schopenhauer might suggest, But also, don't just blindly follow its every whim, perhaps as the misreading of Nietzsche might imply.
It's finding that middle path, or maybe your own unique path.
Exactly. Finding that balance, that conscious engagement, maybe that's where becoming the master of your own life truly lies. Somewhere in that tension.
A constant work in progress, for sure.
Today's SageSync ends here. I will come back next time with another life wisdom. Thank you.